Welcome to MarcusG.TV. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano.
And Jamie.
Awesome. So let's see. Today's mission is health. I love talking about health. We love sharing our health knowledge and our passion for health. And of course, we don't know everything, but we know what's worked for us. We know how we reversed our chronic illnesses like asthma, and I had high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I was on a bunch of different things. You can go to my website, chefonamission.com, and find out just how much of a mess I was in my late 20s. And so I love sharing about what we've done in our own personal diets and the success stories that we've had.
And we love to also share things that we find out and about as well.
Absolutely. So
and
we like to reference articles, other doctors.
Yes.
So we just had the honor of going to the Culinary Institute of America's graduation. They graduate people like every month.
Something like that,
they pump out a lot of chefs out of there. The Culinary Institute of America has several campuses around the country. They are a phenomenal culinary school. Phenomenal culinary school. The resources they have, and they charge the proper tuition for it, but the resources they have, the quality of instructors, the quality of facilities is bar none.
It's beautiful.
It's one of the best culinary schools out there.
Yes.
And it's right here on the Hudson River in Hyde Park. Beautiful. So we had a friend that was graduating, and he
invited us.
Got us tickets. And it was really great because they had a couple speakers, and of course the president of the Culinary Institute of America came up.
Yes.
Timothy Ryan, certified master chef, by the way.
Okay.
He came up and gave, his commencement speech.
Right.
And I find the one thing that...
Did he say it at the end?
He said it towards the end when he was congratulating, telling that they are the future generation of chefs. They're the ones to lead the industry, to lead everything. They're the ones that are going to be held accountable. They're the ones that are the future of the food. And he said, and please be kind to our waistlines, is what he said.
Save waistlines.
Save waistlines. Be kind to our waistlines. Timothy Ryan is not the skinniest chef.
No, but most chefs are not skinny.
So he's not a skinny guy.
I shouldn't say most. That's a.
He's a bulkier guy, and you can tell, and you can hide stuff in a suit very well. When we wear a suit or a chef's coat, you can hide very well. But he's not a skinny guy. So he was making an occasional save our waistlines, right?
Yes.
So I was like, oh, great,
Wow, that was really a great...
Because I've done videos on the CIA before, how they're not healthy, how they claim to be healthy, like the one guy out of the Greystone Napa campus.
He was putting some interesting things into a dessert that he called healthy.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is what they consider healthy dessert.
Right.
So, we go to the reception right afterwards.
We were excited to see, right, what kind of food...
Because they put out a bunch of food for it.
The food is created by students.
By students in the classes.
And then they have students out there serving and...
Right, and the instructors are there with them the whole time.
Right.
It's top notch.
It was beautiful.
Beautiful, magnificent.
Beautifully well done. It was gorgeous. They had, a bar that you could get a drink, and then, you walk around, and everything. I mean, the displays, the food, everything looked phenomenal. I mean, phenomenal. Everything was beautiful.
So there was a lot of different stations throughout the whole room. Lots of different stations, lots of different themes. So I'm thinking, okay, let's go get some healthy food here, right? The first thing we see is one of the servers walking around with students with foie gras lollipops.
Yes.
Okay, now foie gras is not on our diet.
Right.
It's not on a lot of people's diets. Certain people love foie gras and go out of their way for foie gras. It's fattened duck liver. Extremely high in cholesterol, extremely high in fat. And because it's high in fat, it carries a lot of toxins that the duck would have consumed, or the goose would have consumed, duck typically, throughout its life, because this gets stored in the fat deposits, and it's just a fatty liver. They take these little small livers that are in ducks, and they make them grow so big inside the cavity because the duck is just basically, in a sense, force-fed.
Right.
Okay, or fed an extreme amount. You hear conflicting stories like, oh, the duck likes to be fed, the duck likes to be fed. In reality, they shove something down the duck's throat. I've seen this happen. I've been at the foie gras farm. The feeder comes over. The feeder has a relationship with the duck, so it's less stressful. So the duck sees. So the duck wants to eat to a certain extent, right? Because the ducks are hungry. So the duck will walk up to the feeder, but at a certain point, the way you know if foie gras is done, they check the throat of the duck. And if the duck hasn't digested the meal before, if the meal before is still in the throat of the duck, they can't feed the duck. If that happens 3 times or 2 times, whatever, the duck's ready for slaughter. Is how that works.
Interesting.
So yeah, the duck might want to eat, the duck might appear to be hungry, but kids like to eat candy.
Right.
Right? Kids can just eat an unlimitless amount of candy, and if you're going to keep walking up to a kid every day with candy,
they're going to eat it.
The kid's going to eat it, right? They're going to eat it till they can't digest it anymore. Right. So that's what happens. These ducks are eating a high corn diet, which corn is sweet. They're eating a high corn diet, and they like it, and that's what's happening. But the feeders have to feel the duck's neck. And you can feel the grain, the corn still stuck in the duck's neck because the duck can't digest. That's not normal. That's not natural. I don't care what you say. That's not natural. Right. Okay, squirrels, they load their cheeks up, right? And then they go to their
hiding spot that they're
and they put the nuts away and they store it for later. But not the duck. The duck doesn't know how to do it. The duck just keeps trying to, until the duck basically is almost like choking on its own on the food because it can't digest it.
Gross. Lovely.
We can do a whole thing on fog.
Okay, you've got off a little off topic.
I did. So we walk around and we're plant-based.
We're excited.
We're very
excited to taste the food at the CIA because we've never. I think we ate lunch there one time.
I had lunch there once,
but we've never really been there before.
So they had all different ethnicities. They had Asian ethnicities. They had an Italian. They had a barbecue. They had all these different things.
Sushi area.
Mexican area. Yeah. I've got to tell you, everything had
meat.
Everything
except for. I think there were two things that didn't have meat in it.
The farro salad.
And I think that's soba noodle salad.
Soba noodle salad had shrimp in it.
No, it didn't. It was offered with tuna, but it did not have shrimp in it.
Oh, that was offered. They were putting with tuna.
Putting tuna on top of it if you wanted it.
If you wanted. Okay, I didn't realize that.
Oh, and there was one other thing that...
pickles. They had pickles.
Pickles, and then guacamole. Which we didn't find till later, though.
Till later, because that was outside.
And then they had the raspberry and mint.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a raspberry and mint with like a gel, but it had a gelatin on top of it.
It had a gelatin, and the chef instructor told me that it was a vegan-based jelly, and I was looking it up, and it's a bacteria-based jelly, and it looks like it's like a trademark from one of the big companies.
Right, we didn't really know. We'll have to do a little more research.
And it's probably because gelatin, Jello is not kosher because it has pork in it, right? So it's probably a company that said...
It's not even vegan.
Right, it's not vegan.
Kosher, but
no, it's not kosher. It's not even kosher.
Yeah.
So this company probably said, let's get around that loophole of not being able to be kosher.
Right.
Let's get the pork product out and let's grow this bacteria as a gelatin. It wasn't even agar, because agar is the best thing to use.
Yeah, it was interesting. But, back to the not really having plant-based food, I found it very, very interesting. And go ahead.
But without being plant-based, everything was just very unhealthy. It had cream.
Very unhealthy.
Cream, butter. I mean, the foie gras was just the beginning. It was pork belly. I mean, it was things that were extremely high fat, things that were fried, things that had sugar, things that had white flour, things that just had no... We walked around and I'm okay, I'm getting hungry because I'm watching all these people eat, and...
Well, it's lunchtime, too.
It's lunchtime,
so we're hungry. And, of course, we want to experience what everybody else is experiencing. And it was a little disappointing.
It's a little disappointing that they didn't step their game up to be... Because here's the president in the commencement speech saying... that
save your waistlines.
Save waistlines. Save American waistlines is basically what he was saying. And what are they teaching these kids?
I also found it interesting that, most people... And I said this to a couple of the younger kids that were behind.
We talked to a lot of kids.
Right? And I said, it's interesting that there's no vegetables or anything made... plant-based or vegetarian or vegan, when most people will eat vegan, but vegans will not eat meat.
Right.
So if you put out more vegan options, people will eat them.
Right.
If there was polenta out, if there were a mushroom dish, things like that, people will eat them.
Right.
Because they don't care that it's vegan. But the vegans or vegetarians, which I'm sure there had to have been a handful of people that were there that were vegan.
It was interesting because the one student...
Yes, I was just going to say
The one student, she walked up to me and she goes, "Are you Marcus? Are you on YouTube? Are you on YouTube?" And I said, "Yes." She goes, "I follow you.
And I watch your videos."
I watch your videos. And I say, "So are you plant-based?" And she said, "Yeah."
No, she said I was.
She was.
Until she went to school.
Because she tastes. And she consumes a little bit, but she says she can't wait to get out of there and get back to her regular diet.
It sounded like she doesn't even just taste anymore, that she actually eats.
She might, I'm not sure.
She does. She sounded like she actually eats non-vegan anymore, where she's not plant-based.
But she says she buys a half a case of bananas all the time from the commissary and keeps them in her dorm. Right. But she says she couldn't wait to get out of that situation and get back
into
because she wasn't feeling good after eating.
She doesn't feel good.
She doesn't feel good from eating that food. So here's a person who had a super clean diet, who was high carb, plant-based, who gets thrown into that situation of a year and a half in culinary school, and she can feel the difference.
But I'm sure that she will now take what she's learned there and be able to apply those skills into being plant-based. Whether she's cooking plant-based for other people as a, working in a restaurant, or if she's just doing it for herself, or, hopefully she'll venture out and do something more plant-based.
More plant-based, right. Because a lot of graduates have gone on to do a lot of culinary graduates, not culinary institute, but culinary school graduates have gone on and switched their diet.
Like we did.
Like Matthew Kenny.
Right.
The original founder of Pure Food and Wine with Sarma. He was a regular culinary school graduate. He was a rising chef under the age of 30, and he changed his lifestyle, changed his diet, changed his culinary scene, just like we changed ours. Like I changed my culinary mission.
Right.
So yeah, it can easily happen, and hopefully she'll take the skills that she's learned, those high-end skills, and be able to apply. Because you can apply a lot of the basic stuff that's in any cuisine and adapt it to vegetarian or vegan, plant-based. You're doing an interesting thing where you're taking regular recipes, baking recipes.
And I'm changing them into vegan recipes.
So you'll take a recipe out of like a Julia Child book and say, okay, I'm going to put whole grain in here. I'm going to get rid of the eggs. I'm going to get rid of the butter. I'm going to get rid of the cream.
I try to find recipes that I can do that with.
And a lot of recipes you can do that with. And
the ratios are pretty much the same most of the time.
A lot of times,
you just have to take the stuff out and use substitutes. Better substitutes, better things.
So when I was an adjunct culinary instructor at Sullivan County Community College, we used to experiment all the time with the students. I'm like, okay, we're making rolls today. We're making bread today. I want the one station to make it with 100% white flour. I want one station to make it with 50% whole grain flour. One station 75%, and one station 100%, and that's what we would do. I would teach the kids, this is how, and this is the differences by adapting different ingredients. Let's skip the eggs in today's product and see what difference is going to make on station 2. Let's skip the eggs in this and see what's going to happen. Let's add arrowroot. Let's add something else. Let's make it with tofu. And I gave the kids a whole big education like that. But of course the powers to be didn't like that.
Right, of course not.
Because I'm not teaching based upon your classic French, Escoffier, and what's in the books.
It would be great for the CIA to make a class a more healthier class.
I think they do, because they have St. Andrew's Cafe, which is supposed to be healthier. But the thing is, everybody's version of
healthy is different.
They need to teach a really intensive, raw, gluten-free,
I think it's a great idea.
Sprouted, live, living, plant-based,
macrobiotic,
and maybe they do. Maybe the students just don't get enough.
Maybe we just don't know either. But it was interesting. Our friend who had invited us as well, also, made a comment on how good Marcus and I look and how we,
And he wants to.
And he said, he goes, I cannot wait to get out of here, so I stop eating all of the crap.
He messaged me on Facebook yesterday.
Yes,
please come up with a plan. I have to lose 15 pounds. Well, you're a chef that just graduated and spent $50,000. Didn't the Culinary Institute or these schools give you a plan to be able to eat healthy? And the answer is probably not. So it's really disappointing that Tim Ryan, the president, would get up there and say, you guys are the future, save American waistlines, but let's not really teach you how to do that. Go out and figure yourself out how to do it, right? So.
Well, but you were trained classical French, butter, cream, sugar. So you were trained that way, and then you adapted to a different lifestyle, which I think that chefs have to understand, that you need to adapt a little bit, especially if you're opening a restaurant. You need to have some healthier options, or at least be able to accommodate when somebody comes into your restaurant or the place that you're working and says, I don't eat any oil, or I don't eat this, or I don't eat that. What can you do? Because a lot of people, when they go out to eat, don't feel comfortable.
And that was the big deal with me. When we were in Colorado, and I was the chef partner at Walters.
And that's what made you.
People would come in and say, I'm vegan, I'm this, I'm that, and I got embarrassed. Colorado was very progressive, and I got embarrassed. Like, I'm a professional chef, and I can't accommodate a vegan because I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I can't accommodate someone with celiac because I didn't know. I wasn't taught this back in culinary school in the early 90s. They didn't teach us. And I was like, I'm embarrassed. That's like going to a doctor, and he's like, I don't know. Right?
So that's when you changed.
That's when I said, I've got to research this stuff. It's up to me as a chef to push just my chef career forward. I've got to be educated. So I had to take it upon myself and educate myself. And that's when I said, wow, there is a better answer for the food that I was trained to serve.
Yes.
There's a better answer for the food that I'm serving.
Right.
So that was the interesting thing.
Yes.
So
So I would definitely, I mean, I was very impressed with what the CIA did. I mean, the graduation, quality-wise, everything was high-end. I would just, you know, ask that they add a little bit more plant-based, healthier
and show students that you can be super high-end. Right. And with plant-based food, you don't need the protein, and get off the whole you need meat. You need meat. Show them that, hey, instead of foie gras lollipops, let's make a veggie lollipop, right? Let's do mushroom lollipops. Let's do something that's really awesome. Let's work with different unique veg. I'm sure they do that, but it's a side thought.
Right.
Let's make that. There should have been a whole station there that just showcased, you know, grains and veggies and things like that, and all the different things you can do with plant-based foods.
Yes.
Awesome. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano.
And Jamie. Thanks
for tuning in. If you like us, please hit like, subscribe, check out our channel. Leave your comments, thoughts, questions, critiques, and until next time.